like last night. We had rain roughly about 45 minutes ago, and now it's stopped, and we're ready for baseball. And it's time for the Reds to try and get things turned around. They need a little sunshine on this team. They've lost 7 in a row, and today, for a second straight day, we'll host the Colorado Rockies. Hi again, everybody. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Jim Day. Nice to have him back. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Looking for solid starting pitching. That is the story again today for the Reds, and they're leaning hard upon right-hander Tim Adelman.
Well, Tom, it looked like a couple of starts ago that Tim Adelman had things working in the right direction. He threw the ball awfully well against the Pirates, threw the ball awfully well against the Yankees. Wins in both of those ball games here at Great American Ballpark. But in San Francisco, things got a little south early for him. But you look back at those ball games against the Pirates and the Yankees, and I think the biggest thing that stands out is he was able to compete and still put zeros on the board, even with runners on base. That happened a lot in the Yankees ball game, happened a lot in the Pirates game, but he didn't panic, and he continued to keep zeros on the board and kept his team in the game.
Now, we've seen a lot of young pitchers around these parts in Reds country the last couple of years. Today we get a good look at a very good looking young pitcher, Antonio Senzatella, off to a great start here for Colorado.
22 years old, a little awkward in his delivery, a little slow as he comes out of the windup, but a big fastball, and he will surprise you with the fastball straight over the top. He's got a breaking ball that goes with it that you just saw, working on a changeup. But I think the biggest asset, at least from his manager's Buddy Black standpoint, is he will challenge the strike zone. 6-1 for a 22-year-old rookie. I think you'll take that all day long.
And I think he'll take this all day long. Run support, IGS bringing the energy, the Colorado Rocky offense for this young man.
Well, the Rocky offense is vaunted anyway, but you look at his numbers, even at Colorado, even on the road, they've been awfully good. You get runs early, all you got to do is relax and throw strikes.
All right, when we come back, we're going to check in downstairs and welcome back Jim Day. He was under the weather yesterday, but ready to go today, and hoping that Billy Hamilton's ready to go today.
Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Hey guys, meteorologist Brandon Orr here from Local 12. You know, yesterday we had that nasty line of thunderstorms move through just before game time. Now we're looking at more thunderstorms on the way this afternoon as well. The only thing is they're going to be hit and miss. There's going to be plenty of breaks in between. So it's just going to be a matter of looking at radar and seeing where these individual thunderstorms move over. Some of these thunderstorms could be strong to severe with some gusty winds as well as some hail. Biggest thing, though, is we're going to be into the low 80s, plenty of humidity, too. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
I'm Jim Day. Outside of that track through San Francisco, for the most part, runs and offense have not been a problem for the Reds. It's obviously been starting pitching and digging deep holes very early. And we've seen some really good signs at the top of the order from Billy Hamilton. Normally, as Billy goes the Reds. It doesn't work to perfection each time, as we've seen of late during the 7-game win or losing streak, but you look at Billy's numbers over, which is now a 19-game on-base streak. It's our Elk and Elk storyline. 311 average during this 19-game on-base streak. On-base percentage even higher, extra base hits. He scored 21 runs in those 19 games and has even walked 6 times and stolen 10 bases. The Reds hope that number goes to 20 games on base. In fact, let's put him on base a few times today as they look to snap the string. I don't believe in such things, but many do. Go out there and put on your lucky cap. Sit in your favorite chair. Do what you can to break this streak.
Of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
On this Military Appreciation Weekend, the Reds are wearing their camouflage uniforms, and the 29-year-old who grew up in Connecticut, Tim Adelman, is taking the mound. Adelman making his 7th overall appearance, his 6th start, and he's facing a very good Colorado team. the best winning percentage in the entire National League, and their lineup presented by Menards. Blackmon, LeMahieu, Arenado. Reynolds over at first. Carlos Gonzalez in right, and he and Desmond again in left. The latter third of Amarista to shortstop. Walters catching. Senzatella. And the numbers brought to you by Mazda on Tim Adelman.
Well, it appears for Adelman, at least in his side session and here in the early throwing that we've seen, that he is over the issues that plagued him in San Francisco. It was a issue on the left side of his neck, not really the throwing arm, but bothered him immensely enough to take him out of the ball game after the first inning.
Adelman, originally a 24th round pick by Baltimore in 2010. They let him go 2 years later. The Reds picked him up in October of 2013. Pitched in 13 games for the Reds a season ago, and here he goes with his start today. Steal right one to the center fielder Charlie Blackmon, and we're underway. Showed you the numbers on Adelman at home, a 2-0 record with an ERA of under 3.45. On the road is where he's really been hurt. He's been kicked around. A 0-2 record, an ERA of closer to 12.
Well, he's home today, so let's hope he's comfortable here on this mound, because he'll need it against this vaunted Rockies lineup.
You know the story. We talked about it during the pregame show. Was bothered by pain in his neck, lasting just 1 inning his last start last Sunday in San Francisco. Gave up 3 hits and 4 runs. Still 0-2 on Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon is off to a great start. .318 average, 9 home runs for a leadoff man, 31 batted in, has 10 doubles, a league leading 6 triples. Was on base 3 times, scored 3 runs here last night, and they strike him out to lead off the game today. The Reds on defense behind Adelman today, and the regular group pretty much day in and day out. The only 2 changes from last night: Schebler back in there in right, where he is virtually every day, and Mesoraco fielding well enough to start this one behind the plate. DJ LeMahieu, the Colorado second baseman, in there, strike. Rockies with 27 wins against 16 losses. They have been sensational on the road, and you know the story really since this franchise was born, going back to 1993. They've always been a great home team, or at least most of the time very good at home, and they really struggle, especially on offense, on the road. That has not been the story so far this year. That ball driven hard into right and up against a wall, knocked down by Schebler's chest. It'll be a 1-out double by DJ LeMahieu.
Well, I said this yesterday about LeMahieu. He likes to drive the ball from the second base bag to the right field line, and we pitched him away all day yesterday, and we're pitching him away obviously here early in this ball game.
LeMahieu had 2 hits, was on base 4 times, scored 3 runs last night, and now it's Arenado, their best offensive player. 2 hits, including a 2-run home run in the series opener. Colorado scored 8 runs and 9 hits in the 6th inning last night to take a 2-1 game to a 10-1 game, and wound up winning 12-6.
And this guy at the plate right now, Tom, is major danger in the first inning. You hit over 500 in your first at bat of a ball game. You better be careful if you're Tim Adelman.
A 130 or more runs batted in each of the last 2 years for this 4-time Gold Glove winning Colorado third baseman.
Now you can credit some of those RBIs to the multitude of runs that are scored in Colorado, but 130 RBIs, that's getting it.
It's what Johnny Bench used to talk about all the time. He said it's one thing to knock in 100 runs. You're playing 162. He said that's fine, but he said give me the guys that are knocking in 120. He says because now you're talking.
The thing about Arenado is he doesn't just hit mediocre pitching. He hits it all.
Runner at second, one out, opening inning, 1-2 pitch, and it's popped up, and that one will drift over the Reds dugout, out of play. It stays at a ball and 2 strikes.
And we're seeing some fastballs up by Adelman here early in this ball game. He got Blackmon with a fastball elevated above the hands. That's a great pitch as long as it's above the hands where the hitter sets. It changes the eye level and allows you to go back down in the zone, maybe with a breaking ball or a changeup. But a high fastball that's belt high, well, you can kiss the baby.
You know, these are the situations where, as much as the Reds starters have struggled, a lot of their problems have been created by, quite honestly, the inability to just put hitters away. Now, not necessarily last night in the game, but you know, we've seen a lot of these Reds pitchers get ahead, 1 ball 2 strikes, no balls 2 strikes, and then a foul ball here, a couple of balls, next thing you know it's 3-2, and guys are getting hit hard. Pulled foul again. Now Adelman has not had a hard time putting people away. When he gets them to 2 strikes, in 42 at bats, he's only allowed 5 hits. That's a 119 average.
Well, he came in with a fastball there. He may come back with the curveball away. Evidently they're going back in there. With a changeup.
Arenado has led the league in home runs and RBIs in each of the last 2 seasons. And you throw in the fact that he's only missed a total of 5 games over the last 2 years. So you're getting that big bat in the lineup every single night. So here's what we're talking about. You're ahead 1-2. You missed twice on pitches nowhere near the zone. And now it's full count.
Well, that was a curveball there from Adelman. It just came out of the hand a bit too early.
Be the 9th pitch in this at bat. 3-2. There'll be a 10th.
Yeah, you set the stage early in the ball game and put some different things in hitters' mind. That was a 3-2 changeup. They threw a changeup inside to Arenado earlier in the count. If you can get the hitter to think, all right, he's not just going to lay a fastball in here for me, that helps you as you move through the 2nd and 3rd time facing the same types of individuals.
Is in the air to right field, backing up Schebler. It'll stay in the ballpark in the warning track. It's a 2nd down, and LeMahieu will advance on to 3rd base. So a good battle there, and Adelman comes out on top, at least in round 1.
Well, there were some very weak swings, and you have to understand, a weak swing from Arenado is still a pretty good swing, but a little bit off balance on the first 2 pitches that were fastballs away from him. But yet the Reds did not go back to it until it was 3-2.
Well, here's a guy that time after time has been delivering the goods the early part of this year, and he's just done it again, and that's Reynolds. A base hit into left field to make it 1-0 Colorado. His whopping 39th run batted in so far this season.
Reynolds is characterized as a swinger. If it's in the area code, he's hacking the majority of times. Not a guy that you have to throw a first pitch strike to, because he's going to swing the bat. And that's a fastball middle in. He didn't wait around for anything.
And that makes him the league leader in runs batted in, one better than Ryan Zimmerman of the Washington Nationals. Strike one to Carlos Gonzalez. Reynolds was signed to be a backup player, part-time player, but due to all the injuries Colorado has had, and coupled with the fact that seemingly every day in spring training Reynolds was just knocking the cover off the ball, and that's rolled right into the first 6 weeks of this regular season. 39 batted in, and better than a .330 batting average.
Seizing the opportunity.
You know, with all the talk about all the different first basemen, and there are a number of good ones, and there generally is every year in the National or American League, a lot of really good hitting first basemen. This year no different, but you know, if you just went on strictly numbers so far this year, Mark Reynolds should be the starting first baseman for the National League All-Star team. And there are a lot of guys to pick from, including the two that are standing over there next to each other.
And we know how well Votto has hit the ball.
Sure.
11 home runs and 35 RBIs, hitting at a .288 clip, and Reynolds has done better than that. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, Reynolds is batting over 40 points higher than Votto right now, and knocking in runs. Now his on-base percentage is nowhere. There is nothing to scoff at. That's up over 400 as well for Mark Reynolds. One of those other first basemen who certainly is off to a great start this year, but now his season interrupted for a long time is Atlanta Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman.
Broken wrist.
Battleman was on his way to the dugout. He thought that was strike three. It's ball four.
Those are the at bats that you have a tough time understanding. You get a couple of outs in an inning, you get a hitter 0-2, and you end up walking him. That doesn't fly.
Now Ian Desmond looks at a strike on the outside corner. Desmond, when he's been healthy enough to play, has been very good. Nearly a .300 batter, 9 runs batted in, couple of home runs, can play virtually anywhere. Another very nice solid addition to this Colorado team. All those years in Washington, turned down a multi-year contract to stay with the Nationals, wound up signing a 1-year deal last year with Texas, had an outstanding year, and now coming into Colorado and trying to earn another big payday with a good year at the end of this year. Force out at second will end the inning, but the Rockies jump in front. A double by LeMahieu. He scores on a 2-out single by Reynolds. Already trailing 1-0. It's presented by Menards. Billy Hamilton, Zach Kozar, Joey Votto 1-2-3. Duvall the cleanup hitter. Suarez down at third and Schebler in right. Peraza, Mesoraco, Adelman the latter third. 22-year-old native of Venezuela made his first opening day roster this year. He only pitched in 7 games all of last year due to an injury, but boy, his overall minor league numbers are incredible, and you look at very good season numbers presented by Mazda.
Evidently his fastball has quite the bit of late life, very surprising for hitters, especially the first time through the lineup.
Grew up in Valencia, Venezuela. And the Rockies signed him as an international free agent in July of 2011. You know, we talk so much about young pitchers and they get the chance to come up to the big leagues, and it seems like more and more times you look at their minor league numbers and you're like, well, how did this guy earn his way to the big leagues? You don't have to ask that question about Senzatella, even with the injury last year. Since 2011, his minor league career, 41-19 the record. An earned run average at 2.45. He's thrown nearly 500 innings. And his strikeout to walk ratio is over 3.5 to 1.
And he's 22.
Yeah, he was signed out of Venezuela as a teenager. Look out down there behind the Colorado dugout. 3-2 on Billy Hamilton. In the month of April, Senzatella, the National League's Rookie of the Month. Look at those numbers. And he's walked Billy Hamilton to lead off the bottom of the first inning. So for Billy, he's now reached base in a career-high 20 consecutive games. And Colorado defensively behind Senzatella. And the same group we saw here last night. Everybody.
Well, let's see if Billy Hamilton's appearance at first base can't shake up that defense a little bit, especially the one on the mound.
Billy, 20 stolen bases in 22 attempts, a league leader in both. Not running on the first pitch. Cozart takes a strike. Billy's never been thrown out by the Rockies. Now, you only see him 6 times a year being in the National League West, but in his career a perfect 9 of 9 in stolen base attempts against Colorado.
I'm amazed that Hamilton has the ability to take the lead that he does. When you look at his lead compared to other players, I mean, he is way out there and still gets back standing up.
High fly ball into center field. Hamilton's going to at least get back to the bag. He will not try and tag up on the short fly ball. One out in the inning. Mentioned Hamilton now has reached base safely in a career best 20 in a row. Votto, who ranks among the league leaders in home runs, RBIs, on base percentage, and slugging percentage, has reached base safely in 22 consecutive games.
He was going. See Billy rocking back and forth when he gets out just to the very edge of that cut of the grass. When he gets out to this point right here, that's when you have a pretty good idea he's heading on to second base.
They pitch out and still can't throw him out. Number 21 for Billy Hamilton.
There are a lot of pitchers that on a pitch out they slow themselves down a little bit simply because they want to make sure they get the pitch out there where the catcher can throw it. Well, if you slow yourself down, you just give Billy even that much more of an opportunity to take second base. He's running whether you slide step or not.
So now the tying run out there at second base for Joey Votto here in the bottom of the first inning. Pulled the string on him there. Had him way out front. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Every once in a while you'll see a smile from Votto after a swing like that. That tells you he's thinking to himself, that was a pretty good pitch. He got me there. He got me. All right. Put it in the memory bank.
Time being anyway, it's turning into a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Temperatures really cooling down a lot like last night after the rainfall this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid-70s here today. Otto drives one to straightaway center field. Blackman on the run, and he will get it. Leaping into the air and making the catch. Hamilton able to scramble back and advance on to third. What a big play that is by Blackman. That ball stung by Votto.
Well, I would imagine for Charlie Blackman playing in Colorado, he's used to going back on balls. And he made the right step immediately as the ball was driven his way. Otherwise, that might have gotten over his head. That first step always critical for an outfielder.
Now the Reds need the 2-out hit by the cleanup hitter Adam Duvall. Tying run at third base. 2 away here in the first inning. Strike 1.
He may go right back to that slider. Get a slider strike. You come in on the hands. You get a swing. Hitter sees the ball way in there on your hands. Slider away. Start it on the plate. Just get it off.
That's what they tried, but it never started in the strike zone. Of course, today is Adam Duvall bobblehead day. It's good luck.
They even had his shin guard on the front foot on the bobblehead.
They're very on top of their game. They don't miss much around here. 1-2 on Duvall. Fastball away. Of course, the Reds are hoping that many of their highly touted young pitchers will be able to, before season's end, start to get on the kind of run Senzatella has been on. Bear in mind, this young man pitched in a grand total last year of 7 games, and that was all at Double-A. Well, they didn't fool around this spring, and they got him from Double-A right to the big leagues. Makes you wonder if the Reds, should things not improve either from a production standpoint or a health standpoint, would they consider dipping down into Double-A to look at Castillo or Malley? Castillo is on the 40-man rotation, 40-man roster. Malley is not. We're talking with a couple of scouts before the ball game, and one reminding us that Clayton Kershaw was brought up by the general manager Ned Colletti, despite the fact that many in the Dodgers organization at the time did not want Kershaw to make that move. This ball down the right field line and out of play, foul. But that worked out pretty well.
I would say so.
You know, the team that used to bring players from Double-A to the big leagues more than any other that I can remember. It's not to dare suggest that over in the American League, where we're not around many of those teams, there's not somebody out there that has done it as much. But the old Montreal Expos used to do it all the time. When for a long time did they produce some incredible players.
Well, if you have the physical tools to dominate in Double-A as a pitcher, you can do it up here. It's just the transition mentally to this game. Some guys can't make that transition so fast.
This is a third visit to the mound in this inning by the catcher Walters.
You can see Buddy Black. He steps up to the top of the railing and he looks at Walters and makes the signal, throw him a hook. Let's see if he does.
Threw him a fastball, and that strike 3 call that paints the inside corner. Not sure Adam agreed with that call by Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire. Runner left at third, and the 1-0 Colorado.
17 returns with fast-paced pick-up and play MLB action packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and more. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and your mobile devices. Learn more at RBIGame.com. As we go back upstairs to a guy that burns up his PlayStation every night. I know.
Please.
Tom Brenneman.
It's burned up by somebody in our house, but it's not me. That I know for sure. Great to have Jim Day back with us here today. Jim, I know you weren't feeling all that well yesterday, and quite honestly not feeling all that great again today, but we miss you. It's never the same when you're not with us, my man.
Oh, you got through it just fine, but it's good to be back. You know, I'm upright. All is good.
Amen, brother.
Amen is right. Here we go in the second inning, and Amarista had the best inning of his career yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
He knocked in 4 runs in 1 inning. He came into the game with 1 home run and 6 RBIs this entire season. He hit a 3-run home run and had an RBI single in the same inning.
I like how you put that. Best inning of his career.
It's his ball hard. It'll hang up long enough for Billy. 1 out. See, Amarista was always a really nice little player in San Diego. And don't take my word for it. All you have to do is ask the manager, Bud Black, because when he took over in Colorado, he said, I think this guy can help us. And he has.
He's versatile. Puts the ball in play. Doesn't strike out a whole lot. I don't think he's going to hit 341 all year. But he did have a pretty good inning yesterday.
And, of course, they're waiting on their regular shortstop, Trevor Story, to get back. So Amarista, for the time being, is just keeping that seat warm. But the good thing for him and the Rockies, A, he's playing well. B, he's getting a lot of playing time. And so they know when Story comes back, because of that versatility you referred to, that they can play him a lot of other places, and they've got a good thing there. That's one thing the Reds have done very little of so far this year. They haven't had to, because they haven't had the major injuries to their regular position players. Everybody is done just fine.
Yeah, they put Valleca out there at shortstop. He hits 2 home runs in a game. They put Amarista out there. He hits a home run, 4 RBIs in a game. And Trevor Story's their regular guy.
Well, those are the kinds of things that happen to a team that is 27
when
and
things
16.
are going well. Exactly. Things are going well.
When they're not going well, it doesn't matter who you put out there. They just don't get the job done. And that can come in your position player group or your starting pitching group or your bullpen, whatever it might be. There's a strikeout of Walters. Second of the game for Adelman, and the first 2 retired in the second inning.
Another fastball above the hands of the hitter. You see where Mesoraco's setting. And Walters swings right over the top, right underneath it, actually.
Senzatella 2 of 16 as a batter so far this year. Strike one. Nice crowd on hand here for this late Saturday afternoon start. There's a pop-up, should be handled by Cozart and Will, in a 1-2-3 inning for Adelman.
Reds team sign up today for the Reds Bowling Bash presented by Adams Recovery Center. Enjoy this special opportunity to bowl alongside your favorite Reds players. Enjoy a buffet dinner, receive exclusive Reds swag, and more. For additional information, visit reds.com/bowling. And the Reds don't even have to buy the team bowling shirts. They've already been provided by themselves. So I imagine, I don't know this for a fact, but I bet you they have those things on during the Bowling Bash.
There's Chris and Janine. Morning radio here in Cincinnati for years and years and years. Married couple, and boy, what an awesome job they do. And they do so much incredible work for charity in and around the town. And just saw them recently over at the Big Fur Ball for the SPCA Cincinnati. Now, Jim Day, I would imagine you're going to be part of that bowling show. You know, they should have made you an honorary member of that club with a bowling shirt as much as you're around the Reds clubhouse.
No, only for players. Coaches didn't even get them. Personnel, just players.
And by the way, that June the 4th is a Sunday. And most of the kids in and around town will be out of school by then. Maybe not every one of them, but that'll be a Sunday after a 1:10 game. Look at that little angel. And the one in the hat is cute too. Seeing if you'd pick that up, Cowboy.
I'm not saying anything.
It's like one of my favorite lines from that Batman remake movie where Jack Nicholson is the Joker. And they're standing there, the Beauty and the Beast, referring to him and the pretty girl, and he said, if anybody ever calls you a beast, I'll have him killed. It's a great line.
Jack Nicholson.
One ball, one strike on Eugenio Suarez, swinging a foul ball out of play. Colorado scored in the opening inning. Got a one-out double by LeMahieu and a two-out single by Mark Reynolds. Reds had Billy Hamilton at second base with one out. Got to third on a deep fly ball, but Senzatella able to strike out Duvall to end the inning. Now here's a guy who, after a pretty lengthy drought on the last road trip, is starting to show signs of coming back around. Good looking young player is Suarez. 3 hits last night. Had a double, a home run, scored a couple of times.
See him choked up again with 2 strikes. The choked up single that he had in his first at bat last night seemed to get him on track.
Well, if you sit there and watch one of the game's very best hitters, if not the game's very best hitter, if he can choke up with 2 strikes, then why wouldn't you consider it?
Well, a lot of players think that if they choke up, it takes away some of their leverage and their power. And Barry Bonds used to choke up every single time he came to the plate, whether it was the first pitch or the last pitch. And I don't know of too many guys that can hit the ball further than he did.
No. In fact, if you pay attention, I don't watch a lot of golf, but from time to time, if you watch a lot of the biggest hitters on the PGA Tour now, they're actually choking up on the end of their driver a couple of inches. It's all about the bat speed or the club speed.
And where you make contact.
Sure.
If you have bat speed and you catch it on the sweet spot of the bat, ball's going somewhere in a hurry.
Scott Schebler trying to hit it somewhere in a hurry. That was it away, strike one.
That would be referred to as exit velocity for you scoring at home. Yeah, I said it.
I almost fell out of my chair.
I know you did. I don't know what it is about the pitcher hitting and the following inning, but it just always seems like maybe it's because the hitter's concentrating on trying to hit the ball. He's got to run the bases. He comes back in. He's got to hurry up. He doesn't quite get settled down. But that following inning, he's always susceptible.
1-1 on Schebler. And now a ball and 2 strikes.
If Schebler's going to swing at that fastball up there, he's going to see a lot of them from this guy. Yeah, you can see the chain on Cincinnati around his neck. A lot of times umpires will make, especially if it's large and it doesn't stay inside of your jersey, they'll make you take that off because it's shiny, it's big.
Well, he came with a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, just as you suggested, Cowboy, up in the zone, and again Schebler chases it, so that's a second strikeout.
Well, if you're proud of your fastball, and Cincinnati is definitely proud of his fastball, you get a hitter to chase the pitch up above his hands, you will continue to feed it to him. You may change the eyesight, set the ball down in the strike zone, and then go right back up for the strikeout, and that's exactly what Cincinnati does there.
Jose Peraza, an even .250 batter with a home run, hit his first home run, and it was a monster home run here last night. I mean, he just tagged that ball well into the second deck down the left field line, a 2-run home run in the 8th inning. Most of the stuff that we've seen Peraza put in play has been soft stuff into short right field or short center field, a lot of bloops.
Almost careful hitting instead of aggressive hitting that we saw in spring training.
And what we saw last year was aggressive hitting. You get up over 320 and really attack the ball with some pop in the bat.
I think this guy can flat out hit. Now maybe he's not quite comfortable yet. Maybe it's just trying to get used to being the everyday guy. Maybe he feels a little bit of pressure with the trade of Brandon Phillips, and he was handed the job. Pressure's from the neck up. It just doesn't seem to me that Peraza is always set as the pitch comes to the plate. It looks like he's out on his front foot a little bit, and that's not the kind of hitter Peraza is. I think sometimes for a hitter there's a difference mentally between saying, okay, I don't want to strike out, and I want to drive the ball. That's two totally different ends of the spectrum.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Peraza. Runner at first, 1 out. And that one just off the inside corner to run it full. And let's see, do they start the runner with Peraza at the plate and 1 out?
Have you ever walked on stilts? Can you do that?
No. I have done it, but no, I can't do it. Can you do it?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've been doing that since I was probably 9 years old.
No kidding.
Yeah, my kids like it. I can dance around on it.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then we ought to dress you up like that one night before the game.
Dress me up like the clown I am.
Hey, if the stilts fit, wear them, right?
There you go.
But that'd be a good look for you. You know, maybe take a night off and you can go around the ballpark, the cowboy.
Makes me feel like a big old boy walking around on those
no
things.
doubt about it. Steps are probably not a good idea in those things, are they? Or it's not a big deal?
All depends on the body lean. If you lean backwards, they're not so good.
Well, they do start the runner. Play's going to be nowhere. Not sure they'd have had him even with a clean pickup. It was so slowly hit by Peraza. That'll be an infield single.
With the runner going, Amarista broke to the bag. He took 2 steps to the bag, then had to recover back into the hole. And by that point in time, he was not ready to catch the baseball. See the balls hit off the end of the bat. But Peraza, watch Amarista come back into your picture. He's running back towards the left field line. And what that tells you in that instance is that the Rockies expected Peraza to hit the ball the other way because they left LeMahieu in his spot.
Well, it was initially ruled an infield hit. It's been changed to an error on Amarista. So first and second with 1 out in the inning, and there's Devin Mesoraco back in the lineup for the first time in nearly a week. Bothered by a tight hamstring. Of course, over the last 2 years, Mesoraco virtually has missed each of the last 2 seasons. Had his shoulder operated on and each of his hips operated on. Two and 0. Boy, you look at these Colorado infielders, they are just hands on knees, back on their heels. The pace at which this young Venezuelan works is certainly not beneficial to the defense behind you. Mesoraco shoots one into left field. That'll be a hit. Rounding third and scoring is Suarez, and we are tied at 1. Welcome back to the lineup, Devin Mesoraco. It's his second RBI this year.
When in doubt with Cincinnati, you know he's going to give you the heater, even with the pitcher on deck. And Mesoraco was expecting heater. He actually got out in front of that pitch, 94 miles an hour, and he hit it off the end of the bat down the left field line. If he'd have been a little bit slower, he might have had a long, far one.
Now Adelman, 1 of 8 as a batter. His 1 hit was a 2-run double. And already Adelman shortening up on the bat. He has 1 sacrifice. And this one bunted. They're going to play to third. And the runner is out at third. Arenado able to keep the toe on the bag. And really no argument from Billy Hatcher or the runner Jose Peraza.
That was a great play by Nolan Arenado. Not only to catch the ball because the throw was terrible, but to keep his foot on the bag. Watch Arenado here, quickly back to the bag. This throw is towards the third base dugout. You don't catch that ball, a couple of runs score. Not only did he catch it, he was able to keep his foot on the bag to make the out. Wow.
It's one of the reasons that young man's won 4 straight Gold Gloves down there at third base. He is the best in the business. Either league, most people will tell you. And that's a big out. So 2 away, 2 on, and here is Billy Hamilton. Pulled foul. Hamilton walked, stole a base, was stranded at third in the opening inning. Against right-handed pitching over the last week, Hamilton has 7 hits in his last 15 at bats. That's hitting as a left-handed hitter. Slow bouncer here. LeMahieu, Gold Glove winning second baseman, will throw out Hamilton. Reds get 1. They take advantage of a big error in the inning. After 2, it's a 1-1 game.
Turner got in the game last night, was placed on the 10-day disabled list with a hamstring problem. The Reds will go with 4 bench players because they need some bullpen help. Asher Wojciechowski was selected from AAA Louisville. Also, Nefi Agando was transferred to the 60-day DL. But the Reds bullpen been well documented, the innings that they have put up. And Brian Price had some interesting comments before today's game about extra innings. There's been a lot of talk around baseball about capping somehow extra innings. Now, it may never happen at the major league level because of the baseball purists out there, but he wonders, will it come to a head soon at the minor league level? Gentlemen, Louisville played an 18-inning game last night, the AAA affiliate for the Reds. So bringing up Wojciechowski helps the Reds, but it cripples the Louisville team. So the question is, does it make sense to play extra innings on the minor league level? It helps no one.
Well, I tell you what, you're going to get people debating, and you brought it up. The old school people are not going to buy into it. But I'll tell you one thing, and all I know is I go by what the eyeball tells you. When we played in San Francisco last Friday night, as each inning passed, there were fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer people who cared about the outcome of the game. There were 43,000 on hand, and starting about the 11th inning, every time the Giants would make the final out in the bottom of the inning, 1,000 people would leave, 2,000 would leave, 3,000 would leave, and by the time that game came to an end, so it tells you, for your consumers, who are the ones paying the price, are they staying to watch the game the longer and longer? Is there an excitement and anticipation to it that would make them want to stay? Forget a school night. This was a Friday night. I would make the argument, I think they should consider at the major league level what they were going to do in the WBC.
And I would say it's not about that game, because you look back and you think, all right, it's the length of your organization and your organizational talent. The Giants won the next 4 ball games in a row. The Reds have lost 7 in a row since that game.
No. I'm not making an argument from the fact of whether or not how it affects your team. I'm not making that argument at all, because I'm with you all the way. I mean, some teams able to get through it and all of a sudden it can springboard their season. I'm making the argument strictly from the eyeball test of the fans.
Right.
Do the fans want to sit around and watch a game?
But you're talking about just that one game. And what I'm saying is, okay, well, they played 17, 18 innings in that ball game. It tests the length of your organization, and it also tests your mettle as a player.
Sure. But do you get tested? Does your mettle as a player get tested if you start an inning with runners at first and second base and nobody out? You keep playing all the extra innings. I'm not saying you put a cap on the number you play, but what they were going to do in the WBC this year is once you got beyond the 10th inning, was you start every subsequent inning with runners at first and second base and nobody out. Now, do you think people would stay and watch that? And does that test the mettle of the guys on the mound or the guys at the plate?
I don't know that people stay and watch the ball game once you've passed a certain time at night anyway.
Yeah. Here comes Nolan Arenado, and he is our mini countryman player profile. A couple of Silver Slugger awards we mentioned. He's won 4 straight Gold Gloves, has led the National League in runs batted in each of the last 2 seasons, and then he decided to play for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, and of course they would win the gold medal in the WBC this year. Well, it'll be interesting to see moving forward what kind of ideas, because Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, has never backed down from his mantra of the 2 most important things that he needs to do for the game of baseball, and it's based on surveys from fans and years and years and years and years of where the game is going nationally, internationally, locally. As this one's behind the plate, and that'll be a 1-2-3 inning for Adelman. Very nicely done. He's retired 7 in a row, and it's a 1-1 game.
Here in Fox Sports Ohio, it is Reds Live, the pregame edition. It's always brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow, Sunday afternoon tilt, 12:30 for Reds Live as Bronson Arroyo goes back to the hill to close out this 3-game set against the Rockies. Gentlemen, that was an interesting conversation about what will happen perhaps down the road in Major League Baseball as far as the extra innings goes. But I do want to clarify, when I was talking about Brian Price's comments, he was saying it may come to a head soon in the minor leagues. I'm not sure how he feels about the major league level, but again, Louisville played an 18-inning game last night, and he just doesn't think that makes sense for anyone. Hernan Iribarren pitched 3 innings last night.
I mean, obviously in the minor leagues, you're all about development and trying to get guys prepared to move up the next, to the next level, or ultimately leading to the major leagues. And so playing that many innings in a minor league game was certainly a viable argument about why you might want to reconsider. I was starting to talk about the mantra of Fred Manfred, that Rob Manfred, that the 2 areas he's most concerned about: one, the age of those that watch baseball and the demographics of the game, of those that not only buy tickets but most importantly are watching the game on television. And of course the second thing, which he has talked regularly about, is the pace of play. And as far as that part of it is concerned, let's be honest about it, the only way you're ever going to increase the pace of play is if you start finding guys, 1, a lot of money that makes it worthwhile for all the time between pitches, or 2, you start calling balls and strikes on the one who's holding up play. In other words, if the batter's standing out of the box too long, bang, you call a strike, and now all of a sudden they'll get back in that box. Conversely, if a pitcher's taking too long on the mound, bang, ball 1.
And I think we've really done better on getting batters into the batter's box ready to go. Where the problem lies is pitchers getting the baseball, throwing the ball to the plate, and catchers leaving behind home plate and running out to the mound 10, 11, 15 times a game.
And you look at what's going on so far in baseball this year, and Manfred commented on this just the other day, as that one is driven into right center field by Votto. That's a 1-out base hit from the Reds all-star first baseman. His games are taking a lot longer so far this year than they have at any point in time. They came down for a couple of years, but now in each of the last 2 seasons, as they've tried to do some things to pick up the pace of play, small albeit, but the bottom line is it's not working.
The guy with the ball on the mound starts everything. If you speed that up, you speed your game up. All that walking around and looking at the baseball, that's just nervous energy. Get it and throw it.
Strike 1 on Adam Duvall.
If you're not good enough, the hitter will tell you anyway. Oh. Changeup.
So This talented young right-hander's been a little bit wild here today. He's walked 2, he's hit a batter. And now the Reds have 2 on for Suarez. And yet another visit to the mound. That's another area, Cowboy. I mean, we've already seen 5 visits to the mound in this game by the catcher, and we are in the 3rd inning of a 1-1 game.
Maybe you could just give the catcher flashcards. Come on, big guy. That's what you're saying when you get out there anyway. You're okay, buddy.
Coming up later on, we're going to have our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. Reds trying to end this 7-game losing streak here today, and they have a scoring chance with 2 on and 1 out in the 3rd. Suarez
That's a ball.
Scored. Yep.
Started up, stopped, and then started up again.
Take that all day.
You start and stop and then start again. That's not going to work. That's when you don't get the sign right from the catcher. He puts down a sign, a series of 3 signs with a runner at second base. You see the one you like, you start up, and the catcher keeps putting signs down, and you stop waiting for him to finish. You're in trouble.
Now let me ask you a question. The catcher had just gone out to the mound. That was the first pitch in the at bat. Would a catcher normally say, let's start this guy out with a breaking ball?
That's why I was saying I think the catcher just went, hey, don't worry about hitting him with a changeup. Come on, buddy, you're all right. There's only so many times you can say that. Come on, buddy, you're all right. You can yell that from home plate.
It's already the 7th walk this season charged to this Colorado pitching staff, and that is the most among all National League teams. You see the league average is 2. So 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, 2-0 on Suarez. This young man's all over the place right now.
Well, when you're 22 years old, you hit a guy with a changeup, your head starts to spin rather quickly. You see the ball, now all of a sudden the heartbeat comes in. I got runners at 2nd and 3rd. I've only got 1 out. I got to make some pitches. Now the Reds really need to up the pressure.
The way Suarez is going right now, we talk about this regularly over on the television side, and how some guys like to hit 3-0. Some guys don't like swinging 3-0 at all. I'd have lost a lot of money on that bet the way Suarez has swung the bet the last couple of days that he'd be swinging 3-0.
Well, I think the reason he wasn't swinging there was what you were mentioning earlier, that Cincinnati is just having a tough time throwing strikes.
There's ball 4. 3 walks, a hit batter. The Reds have him loaded for Schebler, who struck out his first time up.
Now the catcher is back to the mound.
Yep.
That'll bring Steve Foster, the pitching coach for the Rockies, to the mound.
And for those of you wondering, yes, that is the former Reds reliever Steve Foster.
Teammate of mine here.
Now Schebler has been out of the lineup recently when the opposition starts a left-hander, being a left-handed batter. And that was the case here last night for Schebler, who was so hot for a while there. Right-handers have been the problem. He does not have a hit against a right-handed pitcher in his last 13 trips to the plate.
And the last time up, Cincinnati ran that fastball up out of the strike zone. High fastball up about the hand high. We'll see what he does here. We are obviously not seeing the kid that was the rookie of the month in April. He is having a really tough time with fastball command. Slider and changeup, not really his forte as far as go-to pitches. But when your go-to pitch is a 95 to 98 mile an hour fastball and you're not getting it over the plate, that's trouble in River City.
That ball stunned by Schebler the other way, and it will back up to the wall to make the grab. Ian Desmond tagging and scoring is Votto, and he just missed, clubbing an opposite field grand slam. He does give the Reds their first lead of this game.
2-0 fastball, and you know Schebler's looking for it. If that ball gets any more of the plate than what it did, it's out of here.
I thought it had a chance anyway.
It didn't look good.
All right, so 2-1 Reds here in the bottom of the third inning. And now Peraza, he reached on an error by the shortstop Amarista an inning ago. Still 2-1. Duvall the runner at second, and Suarez aboard at first. Strike one. That appeared to hang up there in the middle of part of the plate, but it was a bit out of the strike zone. And Peraza fouls it off. He's behind 0-2.
Sometimes when you throw a breaking ball as a pitcher, the hitter is looking for it to break away from him, and the one that just spins or kind of backs up a little bit towards the hitter ends up being a good pitch. And that's what that pitch did there. Got right in on the hands of Peraza, and he was looking for it to break away from him.
And a base hit into center field by Peraza. That will score Adam Duvall. 3-1 Reds. Big 2-out hit from the Reds second baseman Peraza.
Now that was a great piece of hitting. That slider was down and away from Peraza, and he went out and got it. 2-strike pitch. You could see the catcher going down to block that pitch, and Peraza got it before it ever got to the catcher.
Just foul to Mesoraco, who had a single into left field, his only time up.
Mesoraco is coming to the plate searching fastball, and if he gets it, he's getting the barrel to the baseball. The slider and the changeup right now, he's a little bit in between. You try to rush that fastball up there, he's going to get it.
Rolling the third inning, and it's already the 68th pitch of the game for Cincinnati. Who's hit a batter, walked 3, allowed 3 runs and 3 hits. Down the right field line and bending out of play.
Now if you're Cincinnati, you're thinking to yourself, all right, I've got him where I can throw a slider here, but the last slider I threw was a bullet back up the middle. I thought it was a pretty good pitch. Your mind starts to play tricks with you.
Two on, 2 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nowhere near the strike zone with a fastball.
See, instead of going to the slider there, he tried to throw that ball as hard as he could throw it, and he almost threw it to the backstop. Boy, he does not want to throw a breaking ball. Wolters gave him breaking ball twice. Senzatella shook it off twice and came back with yet another fastball.
Two and two to Mesoraco. Struck him out on another fastball at 95 miles per hour. Reds get two to break the 1-1 tie and lead 3-1 as we're off to the fourth.
Time for our showstopper. Here come the Judge again. Aaron Judge, just massive power. Home run number 15 today. That came in the top of the second, but Tampa Bay does lead the Yanks 3-1 in the fourth. Let's go to our T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. Chris Sale, man, this guy can pitch. 10 strikeouts last night, double-digit strikeouts in 10 straight games, matching an MLB record he already owns with Pedro Martinez. Texas Rangers, longest win streak in MLB this season, and a big loss for Houston. Dallas Keuchel goes on the disabled list with a pinched nerve in the neck.
That is a big story.
Hey, the biggest one there was Keuchel going on the disabled list, because when he went down last year, the Houston Astros went down with him.
And it's interesting to note, even in that record-setting performance by Chris Sale last night, the Red Sox lost the game to the Oakland Athletics. All right, so now Tim Adelman is given a 2-run lead. He's retired 7 straight. He allowed a 1-out double to LeMahieu in the first inning, a 2-out single to Reynolds to drive in a run. He walked about it and then got the final out of that first inning. Well, nary a Rocky has reached since, and we're starting the fourth with Reynolds. Bright sunshine on the field for the first time today. It's turned into a beautiful day, and there's a beautiful pitch by Adelman to pick up his third strikeout.
Another fastball strikeout. That one just happened to stay right there. I think Reynolds was looking for a pitch, maybe a breaking ball away. You get paralyzed on the inside corner, looking slow.
That'll bring Carlos Gonzalez to the plate. He walked his first time up. Talked last night about all the damage through the years Gonzalez has done to Cincinnati pitching. Lifetime .319 hitter against the Reds. And just in the last 2+ years in 13 games, he has knocked in 16 runs with 7 home runs. Of course, this guy's hurt a lot of people through the years. He's off to a woefully slow start here in 2017. But you got to believe sooner or later those numbers will start to change.
Well, he's starting to swing a little bit better as of late. .282 over his last 10 ball games. Walked his first time up. Start the season thinking everybody, you've got to carry the club. Doesn't necessarily have to do that on this team.
Hammers that one down the right field line up against the wall. Schebler gets to it quickly, and that'll be a long, loud single. That's nicely played out there by Scott Schebler.
You can't play it any better than that. Even Carlos Gonzalez, as he rounded first, he's thinking, I've got an easy double here. But what Schebler did is that as he got the baseball, he didn't turn and then eyeball second. He was turning and throwing all in one motion. You get to the baseball in a hurry, you get the carom off the wall. He's throwing as soon as he gets the baseball in his hand. Turn and fire.
And Gonzalez knows a few things about making that kind of play. He's a Gold Glove winning defender himself. You know, you think back to the outfield the Arizona Diamondbacks had in their system, and what could have been for many years at the big league level, and they wound up getting rid of all three of them. You had Upton, #1 pick.
Justin or BJ?
Justin.
Okay.
The good one.
Just checking.
They had Carlos Quentin, who had a couple of monster years before injuries really slowed down his career with the Chicago White Sox, but at one time one of the most feared hitters in the American League. And the other was Carlos Gonzalez, originally an Arizona Diamondback. You get rid of all three of them.
Well, at the time, that's a pretty stout outfield. Oh, baby. Right, left, right.
Marie still waits in the on-deck circle. Ian Desmond with a count of 2 balls and a strike. Gonzalez not the base stealing threat he once was. There was a time when he first came to the big leagues where he was a whole package of power, speed, defense. Looking into the bright sunshine, it is Duvall for the second out of the inning. Well, if a Red hits that home run, sign out by the PNC Power Stacks, it says Red hits sign, fan wins Toyota. Wendell Cox from Butler, Kentucky will win that beautiful Tundra, and you can register for your chance to win. Just stop by your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer.
Seen more pitching inside from Adelman here in just these first few innings, and probably any time that he's made a start this year, trying to keep this Rockies offense from getting extended at the plate.
Nothing in 2 on Amarista.
Another high fastball. If you get a club that's going to chase and they're going to swing and they're aggressive, that fastball up above the hands, that's a money pitch, as long as it's not 85. They want to go up there again.
And again, they want the ball up in the strike zone. At least that was a signal given by Barnhart. And Amarista chases it and fouls it off to the third base side.
Get a hitter to swing at those pitches up there above the hands. You can start your curveball up there and just throw it as hard as you can and let the bottom fall out of it.
Right there.
There you go. The only problem with that curveball is it stayed over the plate. If you bounce it, Amarista's in the dugout. With a changeup there. Now this is a point in time for a pitcher. It's 2-2. You got 2 outs. You've gone far enough. You tried to strike him out. You didn't get him. Now you got to make a quality pitch. Try to get decelerated contact. Make him hit it off his hands or off the end of the bat.
That one driven into right center field, and Billy Hamilton cannot get it. A diving attempt. This will bring in a run. Gonzalez rounds third, and that makes it a 3-2 ball game. So that time Amarista able to get on top of that pitch up in the strike zone and hammers it into right center field.
Did not get it high enough. If he's going to chase it early, he's going to chase it late. And you left it right at the catcher's mask. It's got to be above the catcher's mask in order to get it above his hands.
Great effort out there by Billy Hamilton, and how many times have we seen him make plays like that? But that one just a little bit beyond his reach. They intentionally walked the number 8 hitter Walters to face the pitcher Senzatella. And this kid has not even made it off the grass yet to get to the plate. So now he's in there with 2 on, 1 in, 2 out. And it's a 1-run ball game. Senzatella has 2 hits in 17 at bats without a run batted in. Adelman ahead of 0-2. And that's strike 3 to end the inning. A 2-out double by Amarista, who knocked in 4 here last night, has made it a 1-run game. Coast to coast, it's an evening of Major League Baseball. Buster Posey, and all of a sudden the red hot Giants take on the slumping Cardinals, who were so hot but now have dropped 3 straight games. That's at 7 o'clock right after the Reds, and that's live on Fox, so check for your local Fox affiliate. It's turned into a beautiful late Saturday afternoon, early evening here in downtown Cincinnati. Temperatures in the mid-70s, lots of sunshine right now. And the Reds have a 1-run lead as Adelman will lead things off against Senzatella in the last of the 4th inning. 3-2 ball game. Adelman was asked to put down a sacrifice and was unsuccessful his first time up. A runner was thrown out at third place on a marvelous play at third by Nolan Arenado. Very difficult throw to handle from his pitcher.
Well, someone in the Rockies dugout must have mentioned to Senzatella that he's not working at his normal pace, because these 3 pitches here to Adelman were quick and to the point. And you mentioned earlier that he was a little bit elongated in getting the ball, throwing the ball to the plate.
Or you just watch the defenders. You know, even if you're not even paying attention to the game, if you just look around at the defense behind the pitcher, you can get a real good vibe of
and you can see him
how
now.
They're doing.
He's ready right now. So someone must have said something to him, because normally he works at a very quick pace. Get the ball, coming to the plate.
Billy Hamilton walked, stole a base, was stranded at third in the first inning. He stranded a runner in the second on a tapper to LeMahieu. Strike 1.
Look at him. I mean, he's right back on top of the mound.
Well, clearly we're not seeing the kind of command that Senzatella has had through, most of his 8 starts this year. His strikeout to walk ratio is better than 2-1. Today he struck out 3 batters. He's walked 3. He's hit a batter. So not nearly as crisp, at least through the front 3 1/3 innings, and he has walked Billy Hamilton for the second time.
And it's really been all about lack of fastball command. And normally for this kid, the fastball is his big pitch. That's normally his strikeout pitch, making guys chase fastballs up in the strike zone, but he's had trouble getting ahead with the fastball today.
And that one hit down the left field line, and that'll be cut off by Desmond. Throw goes into second. Hamilton easily into third. And so the Reds have him on the corners with 1 out. Cozart, his first hit today.
How many base runners in all of baseball on a bullet to left field, a single, do you see a guy go from first to third and make it easy? They don't even throw the ball there. And it wasn't as though Billy was running on the pitch. He stopped. Now he comes from a dead stop. And Desmond has a pretty good arm and got to the ball quickly. He didn't even try to throw it to third.
In fact, that's a really smart play by Desmond. That's where you have to know as an outfielder sometimes. You know, we talk about base runners, knowing the outfielders, where they're playing, what kind of arm the outfielder has. But the same holds true for the guys in the outfield about who's on base.
Because if he throws that ball to third, Cozart's likely to take second base, and then it really looks ugly.
Well, I mean, here at least you give your pitcher a chance to roll up a double play ball and get potentially out of the inning. Joey today is 1 of 2. Drove a ball to straightaway center field in the first inning. A great catch, a leaping grab into the air. Backhanded catch by Blackman. And then Votto singled to right center in the third and scored. Russin, the left-hander, begins to crank it up in the Colorado bullpen. Senzatella has thrown a pile of pitches in this one, up over 80, and we are just 1 out into the 4th inning.
Yeah, I would expect that Russin is getting ready for Schebler. Just looking at the body motion, the eyes, the head bobbing back and forth, you can see the frustration from Senzatella. He's not had a start like this year.
Good fastball there on the outside corner at 97, so he's still got plenty of ammo. Hamilton, the runner at third, had a walk with 1 out in the inning and went to third on the single by Cozart. 2-2 to Joey Votto. Oh, Senzatella wanted that call, didn't get it. So close to being a perfect pitch, but clearly a ball. Well, they're going to get 1, they're going to get 2, and that is a double play, and we go back to the throw from left field.
Challenge that.
Well, Brian Price is waiting.
Brian Price threw his hand up immediately with Cozart sliding into second base.
Tell you what, though, when the runner out there at second base has already taken off his helmet and given it to the base coach, that gives you a good idea that he knew he was out. And again, that goes back to the throw that was made by Ian Desmond out in left field. It is a double play. There is no challenge, and we are going to the 5th inning. Reds 3, Colorado 2. By Montgomery Inn, the grilling capital of Great American Ballpark. Take a break from the traditional ballpark fare. See what the Smokehouse has to offer on your next visit. For tickets, visit Reds.com.
I love their ribs.
Oh, I know you do.
I like their chicken.
And I
like
know
their
you do.
Pork chops.
And I know you do.
Goes all the way back to 1989 when I first came in here. That was one of the first places I ate in Cincinnati.
All right, what have you thought so far of Tim Adelman? We documented he had to leave his last start in San Francisco. Felt some pinching in the back of his neck, which made him unable to finish pitches in his follow through. And here today so far, he's allowed 2 runs, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts. He's walked 2, 1 intentionally. And there's a base hit by Blackmon to open up the 5th.
Well, I think the key for Adelman here early in the ball game is his ability that he's shown to pitch inside and up. Got a big strikeout there up in the zone. The ball up and in right on the hands of the hitter. And when you have big swingers like the Rockies, you want to try to take a little bit of bite out of those swings and their aggressiveness. The only way you can do that is you pitch in and you pitch up. Then you use your other pitches down and away.
DJ LeMahieu doubled over Schebler's head in right field in the first inning and scored on a 2-out single by Reynolds. He tapped out Tovado his last time up. Blackmon is not a big base stealing threat. He only has 2. He's only tried 2 more.
I mean, his greatest asset is he gets on base. He can just flat out hit. He's on first the majority of the time for this vaunted offense that comes after him. You see how far LeMahieu's standing off the plate. He's going to dive into the plate and try to shoot the ball the other way.
And they're paying a lot of attention to a guy who virtually has no lead over there at first base right now.
Well, a lot of times with LeMahieu, because of his ability to hit the ball the other way, they will hit and run with LeMahieu and move the runner Blackmon. Not a stealing threat, but you're just trying to make sure that if they do try to hit and run, you shorten up the lead of Blackmon at first base.
LeMahieu in between every pitch, taking a long look down at the third base coach, Stu Cole. Runner goes, throw down to second base, and he stole that off the. And now Blackmon's going to third. Here comes a throw by Billy, and the runner is safe at second base. So that was clearly stolen off Adelman because Mesoraco had no chance. It looked like a hit and run had been put on. It would have been the 5th time with this duo they've tried that this year.
They would have. That was a hit and run, but the ball was so far in. Watch LeMahieu. He can't swing. He tried to swing. He even tried to swing after Mesoraco caught the baseball. Peraza could not knock the ball down to keep it in front. And then the throw to Suarez was right into the slide.
And this is a ground ball that will tie the game, so they get a single, a stolen base, a throwing error, and a simple ground out. And just like that, what was a 3-1 Cincinnati lead is now a tie ball game.
Well, when you've got a batter at the plate like LeMahieu that doesn't strike out much, that can make contact on the ground, you can afford to move a runner like Blackmon, and that's what the Rockies did there. Ultimately ended up in their favor.
So now Arenado, who was fly to right and fouled out to the catcher, will bat with the bases empty and 1 out. Colorado scored first in the first. The Reds tied the game with a single run in the second inning on a single by Mesoraco. The Reds would take the lead by 2 in the third thanks to wildness from Senzatella. Hit a batter, walked a batter in the inning. Schebler knocked in a run with a fly ball. Peraza singled home a run. But now in each of the last 2 innings, the Rockies get a double by Amarista with 2 outs to score Gonzalez. A single, a stolen base, an error, and a ground out to tie it in the 5th. And there's ball 4 to Arenado. 3rd walk of the game given up by Adelman. That is a foul ball and a good thing. That had some hair on it off the bat of Mark Reynolds.
That was a good pitch from Adelman, a first pitch changeup. And Reynolds, one of those guys, if it's in the strike zone and it's a heater, he's coming after it. Off speed, even though the ball ran in, still hooked it foul.
Ahead of Reynolds at 0-2, 1 out. And a fastball is high. Another foul ball out of play.
What did you see the front foot of Reynolds there? He was stepping towards the third base coach's box. He just did get a piece of it. Now this comes after his last at bat where he was struck out on a pitch on the inside corner. I mean, he is wide open looking for that same pitch that paralyzed him the at bat before.
Pulled foul again.
Another changeup. You may be able to bounce a curveball here. That pitch was awfully low and Reynolds still going after it. But if you bounce the curveball, it's got to start in the strike zone.
Barely got a piece of it to hang around.
Right now for Mark Reynolds, any pitch that starts in the zone, he is swinging. The 2 pitches he's taken have been up, way up.
And Adelman just can't put him away yet.
Well, he threw him a curveball earlier. The ball started in the zone, and instead of going into the dirt, it broke away, and Reynolds was able to make just enough contact to foul it off. It's kind of hard to hit it on the hop unless you're Vladimir Guerrero.
2-2 again to Reynolds, and that one laced into center field to hit. Boy, he is really swinging the bat. Here comes a throw into third, and it's not going to be in time. Very, very aggressive base running right there by Nolan Arenado. Hamilton has a good arm, and he has an accurate arm. But it's worth the gamble. You know, you asked about how many guys could go first to third on a ball to left. You know, when you think about an outfielder, no matter how good their arm is, you know, when their body weight is taking them and all their momentum in a certain direction, it's hard to all of a sudden plant the foot and make a good throw. And now the Reds are going to ask them to have a look to wonder, did Arenado slide by the bag?
We had a late slide trying to make sure he got in there. And Suarez kept the tag on him. He may have come out of contact with the bag. A head first slide, and he did slide over the bag. You can see the late slide, and his momentum takes him on past the bag. And watch Suarez. He got that glove on his leg and just kept it there.
Well, you wonder if the hand ever came off the bag. Well, they're taking a look, of course, back in New York.
That's one of those plays where if you're Eugenio Suarez, you put a little bit of extra pressure on the leg as you tag. Slide that leg off the bag.
You know, the question is, you know, had he already thought the call had been made? Because when he pulled his hand off the bag, that wasn't a momentum thing, whereas momentum took the hand off the bag.
Well, he thought he hooked it with his foot, and he was hoping that his foot would hold on.
We wait on the decision. This is a very important call here. And the runner's out at the plate, so a good challenger at third. An excellent time to try to challenge the call by the Red staff.
It's all about momentum coming into the bag. As a good throw by Billy Hamilton. But the best part of this play was by Eugenio Suarez getting to the base runner and keeping the tag on his leg the entire time through the momentum of the slide.
So what a difference that call makes. First and third it would have been with only one out in the inning, and now it's a runner at first with 2 outs in the inning, and Carlos Gonzalez is the batter. Adelman has only retired 1 batter in this inning, and that was the ground out by LeMahieu. He's allowed a single, then the ground out, a walk, and another single. But a huge call down there at third base. Reds have action for the first time in their bullpen. They have the veteran right-hander Drew Storen ready to go. '94th pitch of the afternoon for Adelman. He might be running out of steam.
Well, this is not a guy you want to make a mistake to.
Well, that might be it for Adelman. That's his second walk in the inning.
Well, Brian and Mac Jenkins are mulling it over. I think Mac Jenkins is going to go to the mound. They're going to give him one more batter. And what this meeting at the mound does is it gives Drew Storen plenty of time to get loose for Alexi Amarista, who has hit the ball awfully well here in these first two ball games.
Boy, has he ever.
But you have got to get Ian Desmond here. He's got Desmond once on a pitch away the last time up, and got him earlier on a fastball running right in on his hands.
3-3 game. 2 on, 2 out, and Desmond waits on a pitch from Adelman. Swing and a miss.
That was right down Broadway.
Reynolds a runner at second base. You've got Gonzalez over at first, and that one looped into right field. It'll fall in a hit. They're going to wave around Reynolds. He will score. The Rockies have come up with a pair of runs against Adelman in the 5th, and they've come all the way back from a 3-1 deficit to take a 4-3 lead.
Tried to run the fastball in on him, and Desmond, all he's trying to do is make contact. The ball starts away, runs back in, but it stays on the plate. That's the key to that pitch. Started on the plate, stayed on the plate, base hit.
And once again, the Reds have a starting pitcher that cannot get through 5 innings of a game. So the Skyline Chili called to the bullpen. Adelman 4 2/3 innings gives up a 2-run lead. Storen will try and pick up the final out in the 5th. Sports Ohio brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together, and by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. It's turned into a beautiful Saturday afternoon, early Saturday night. And things were looking good through the front 3 innings when the Reds had a 3-1 lead, but the Rockies are running the 4th, 2 in the 5th, still batting. And now Drew Storen on to face Alexi Amarista, delivers a strike.
Well, that was some serious movement on that fastball from Storen. By the time Amarista made contact, ball was a good 4 to 6 inches off the plate away. Of course, if you throw it any further outside, Mesoraco can't catch it.
Swinging a foul ball off to the third base side, out of play. So Storen comes in and jumps in front of Alexi Amarista, who has knocked in 5 runs in a game and 2 at-bats of this series. He had 6 RBIs all year before this series began, and he lifts one to short left field. Duvall lost it in the sun, and another run's going to score. That's about the 3rd or 4th ball that a Reds defender has lost in the sun in the last 7 days. Saw it happen to Cozart, a huge play the other day in Chicago.
Well, you can have the sunglasses on, but they don't always help you. You try to teach the youngsters to block the sun with their glove. and as the ball comes out, then you move the glove to make the catch.
So they're going to go ahead and intentionally walk again the catcher. Second time they've done that today. And Senzatella will bat. Three runs here in the Rockies' fifth, and the pitcher is the ninth batter to come to the plate. And he drills one into center field. That'll bring in one run. Here comes the second runner, and that's a two-run single. The third hit of this season, the first 2 RBIs in the career of Antonio Senzatella.
First pitch fastball, and Senzatella sends it right back up the box. We talked about the high fastball. If it's at the catcher's mask, it's a problem. If it's above the mask, it's usually up above the hands. That one was right there.
Well, it was the 6th inning last night when Colorado had 8 runs and 9 base hits. They have 5 runs and 5 hits to go along with 3 walks in this inning. And remember, only one batter has been officially retired in this inning. That was a ground out by LeMahieu. You know, when the Rockies scored their first run of this inning, they had a runner at third with nobody out, and a ground out knocked in the run. So the bases were empty with 1 out. And Adelman, things went completely south. Walked a batter, allowed a single, walked another batter, a single, got a call, overturned at third. This one popped up into left, will bring in another run. 6 runs in the Rockies' 5th inning, and the beat goes on. They're not hitting them hard, but, or at least some of them, they're not hitting hard. The pitcher's ball was killed.
Just reach out, flip it into left field.
We brought up earlier, that young man was just brought up from the minor leagues today. What with all the pitching the Reds have had to use, getting virtually nothing out of their starting rotation. 2 on, 2 out.
Well, that ball ran way in there. You get hit in the small of the back with a fastball, that's going to cause some pain.
Of course, we saw Storin hit, what, 3 batters in 1 inning.
What is that, 9 consecutive batters that have reached base?
Yeah, the only out was that play that was overturned, the call at third. So ever since, again, they were empty with 1 out in the inning. It's been walk, single, got the call at third base overturned. Since then, walk, RBI single, intentional walk, 2-run single, RBI single. And now LeMahieu hit with a pitch to load him up. Two balls and no strikes on Nolan Arenado. You better watch out here, or this could turn into a 12-3 game right now. 4 career grand slams for Arenado. And he chased that breaking ball down and away on a 2-0 count.
He was guessing fastball middle in just in case he got it, looking for that grand slam you were talking about. Watch the hips open, hands coming through.
High fly ball right center, and Hamilton will corral it to end the inning. A 6-run 5th. Colorado leads 8-3.
They lead big time right now over the Reds 8-3. I want to take you out in front of Great American Ballpark. Saturday, June 17th is going to be a big day and a big weekend that weekend against the Dodgers, because it'll be the unveiling of the Pete Rose statue, and right now you can see them building the base out there. And those wondering, that's Joe Morgan's statue to the left, Tony Perez on down to the right. So Pete will be right in the middle of Joe and Tony, and this will be somewhat of a statue marvel, if you will, because it'll be Pete Rose and his infamous head-first slide. So it's definitely the toughest sculpture that they are making. But they've already started the base. Looking forward to Saturday, June 17th, when the Hit King gets his statue.
It's going to be a really exciting weekend here at Great American Ballpark. It's kind of like the final chapter, if you will, for what the Reds can do for baseball's all-time hit leader. Naturally, they've been allowed by the commissioner's office to retire his jersey. They put him in the Reds Hall of Fame, and now a statue in his honor outside the ballpark. I don't know what else conceivably the Reds could do to honor Pete Rose in any other way.
Well, I think that the statue of the slide is what all of us that grew up during that time remember of Pete Rose.
Sure.
The hard-nosed play, the head-first slide that we all tried to do and failed miserably.
It's fun trying, though.
It's fun trying.
All right, we have a long way to go. This is only the bottom of the 5th inning of this game. So plenty of time for the Reds to try and get back in this thing. Senzatella allowed a single run in the 2nd inning, 2 runs in the 3rd. Was able to get a huge double play ball off the bat of Votto, ending the 4th. And Arenado gloves and throws out Duvall to start the bottom of the 5th inning. So interesting to watch this guy, because he always likes moving when he throws the ball.
Well, he's moving towards left field, actually towards center field as he throws that ball. And the throw is right on target. He catches the ball, makes the pirouette, and watch where the throw is. Right on the money.
Yep. You talk to the people who watch this guy play every day, and they will tell you that even on a routine ground ball right at him, right in his tracks where he's standing right now, he will start to move in any direction just to be on the move, to throw almost that sideline, almost underhand sort of action when he lets it fly. And that's what he's most comfortable with. And obviously it works. He's won 4 straight Gold Glove awards. It'd make you a little nervous if you're the manager, because if you tend to come from down under a little bit, the ball for a lot of guys will tend to sail.
Well, it would make me nervous if he planted and threw, because that ball would probably sail. But when he's on the move, he has a tendency to keep his balance, and as we saw, the throw was right on the money. You can't always make a player in cookie cutter fashion.
Great point.
Find their talent, help them expand their talent. For a guy like Arenado, he catches the ball great. He's just not one of those guys that can set his feet and make that perfect throw. He likes to move. Let him do it. Well, the Reds are not going to get 5 runs back with one swing of the bat. They're going to have to chip away, and they're going to have to stay diligent against Cincinnati.
Right away, center field hit a ton by Suarez, and that baby flies out of here, so they get one of them back. Suarez really starting to heat up again. He has been on base all 3 plate appearances today. Had 3 hits, scored twice, including a home run last night, and that gives him 9 home runs on the season. Oh, you got to wonder, this probably has to be it for Cincinnati anyway. They're probably going to give him a chance. When this inning began, you have a 5-run lead to get through 5. He's knocking on the door of 100 pitches. They have the veteran right-hander Chad Qualls getting loose in the bullpen. You naturally get him through 5, and he's in line to get a win if his bullpen can cover the final 4 innings.
And this Rockies bullpen has been awfully good.
Schebler out of there on strikes. 2 away in the inning, and for Cincinnati, that's just his 4th strikeout of the afternoon.
Another fastball up in the zone. 96 up there. You got to get on top of it. Any kind of loop at all in the swing, you got no chance.
Jose Peraza has reached base twice, once on an error by Amarista, and he knocked in a run with a single in the center field in the 3rd inning.
I don't know that Cincinnati has thrown a slider anywhere near the plate since Peraza hit that ball back up the middle, and it was still a good pitch, but you just have to understand that's how things start to mix in your mind when you're on the mound. I'm trying to throw it through the backstop right now.
Well, we really haven't not seen any of his secondary pitches that have, been anywhere close to something you would say is impressive or a plus pitch. Now, it could be an off day for him, And clearly
But
he's battling his way through, and the bottom line is he gives his offense a chance, and he'll leave at the end of 5 with an 8-4 lead.
Family Day destination this Sunday at Great American Ballpark. Thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets, enjoy live mascot races, face painters, carnival games, and more. Plus, it's 14 and younger. Receive a Ricel Iglesias Fathead thanks to Miracle Grow. For tickets, visit Reds.com.
Asher Wojciechowski just brought up from the minor leagues today. He was signed as a minor league free agent in December during the offseason. Pitched collegiately at the Citadel, and he grew up in South Carolina, Beaufort, South Carolina. Selected off waivers by the Marlins last year from the Astros. That was a team he originally came up with. He's pitched in 5 major league games. That was during the 2015 season with the Houston Astros. He was 0-1, pitched 16 innings. Allowed 23 hits and 13 earned runs. Through his minor league career, he's been almost exclusively a starter, where he's won 48 games with an earned run average right at 4. And that's 137 minor league games prior to this year.
And he threw the ball awfully well in Louisville in AAA. 5 appearances, all as a starter, a 1-0 record with a 1.40 ERA. 29 strikeouts in 25 2/3 innings, only allowed 16 hits.
Drew Storen behind Adelman retires just 1 batter. He allowed 3 hits, walked a batter intentionally, hit another, and allowed 2 of Colorado's 6 runs in that 5th inning, and that takes care of Reynolds on a good breaking ball to open up the 6th. What better way to wrap up your weekend than on the golf course? And that's inside the Golf Zone with Jimmy Hanlon, presented by Varmint Guard. The Golf Zone tees off tomorrow at 8:30 after Cavaliers Live on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. High pop-up into foul ground, and Suarez over near the stands. A nice play.
Suarez made that look easy, but he was really played around to pull with Gonzalez at the plate. He had to go a long way into foul territory. You can see him check the wall. I know right where I'm at. And no alligator arm on that catch. He made the catch, reaching dead out, bumps right into the wall, a little bit of fall over. Nice play.
So a real nice start here for Wojciechowski. I'm so used to Wojciechowski, the former point guard at Duke University, who now is the head basketball coach, I believe, at Marquette University. Swinging a foul ball back, and of course Wojciechowski played for Krzyzewski.
Not even going to try it. More, I like the names Jones, Smith,
Brantley.
Even that.
Remember the old days when doing the Cub games, when Hector Villanueva first came to the major leagues, and boy, did Harry Carey have a field day with that one. There was one at bat where he called him 7 different pronunciations.
Rafael Palermo.
There's a ground ball To Kozar. Well done, young man. Welcome to the Cincinnati Reds. A 1-2-3 inning. That's how you do it. Reds are down 4.
Thing to try to help their Reds rally. Well, there's a gentleman's pajama craze going on around the country. It's called rompers. This has been circulating on social media. I introduce you gentlemen to hashtag Rally Rompers, where someone out there took our heads, put them on a romper ad, and it's been circulating. Well, it came to my attention on Twitter. Some guy's account named Woody. I don't know if he is the originator of this, but this would be hashtag Rally Rompers. As Cowboys said last night, looking good, or maybe not.
Look at that Cowboy.
No.
Huh?
No.
No?
Not a chance.
My dad's looking pretty good. I think Ryan Giesenslaw really looks good.
Marty might wear that.
Look at Pick. That's a good look for Pick. Little pink jumpsuit.
Not happening.
Well, Chad Qualls has been around since the beginning of time, hasn't he?
Been around long. I think he was pitching when I was pitching. Probably not, but he has been around a while. But you know how you stay around? You get people out.
That's exactly
Throw
right.
strikes, get people out.
And that Chad Qualls has found a way to do.
Oh.
He's not going to get Devin Mesoraco out to begin this inning. That is way back to the second deck.
Well, right now for Mesoraco, I know he's been out a few games with that hamstring issue. But the way his bat speed is, you leave a fastball out over the plate, he's going to hammer it. And this was, well, that was crushed.
Yes.
Well, you don't get him back with one swing of the bat.
A lack of communication there. Scooter Gennett, his first at bat, just bounces one right between the second baseman and the shortstop.
You don't get all the runs back with one swing of the bat, but if you hit them like Suarez and Mesoraco did, well, you only need 3 or more of those. Actually 2 now. Got a runner aboard. Even though the Reds have given up runs early, you have not seen this offense just lay down and die. Last night they came back, put 6 runs on the board.
Billy Hamilton to batter with Gennett over at first base. And fouled out of play. Nothing in 2 on Billy. Qualls spent virtually 0 time in the minor leagues. He was there for about 3 years. And he was a starter. And as soon as they brought him to the major leagues with the Astros in 2004, he has never started a game in the major leagues. He's been a reliever since then. He had some great years on some really good Houston teams. In 04 and 05, he pitched in the National League Championship Series. In 2005, the World Series for the Astros against the White Sox. Went to Arizona, hit a bump in the road, came back with a strong year in 2011 in San Diego. Then went to Philadelphia and the Yankees. He didn't pitch well. The Pirates, 3 teams in 1 year. Looked like he was probably near the end. As that ball is driven into right center field, and and it is caught by Blackmon. A diving play out there. That's a big-time play right there by Blackmon.
It's one thing to make that play if you're a right-handed center fielder. It's another one to make it when you have to backhand and dive, and that's what Blackmon did there.
Waking ball to Cozart off the outside corner.
Talking about the Reds offense. 5 runs at least in their last 5 games. They have not won any of those ball games. You score 5 runs in a ball game, that is plenty of runs to win. I think if you score 4 runs in a game, that's plenty of runs to win.
Well, in theory, we know that is absolutely right. In reality, this Reds pitching staff starting rotation has just been abysmal. Their ERA over the last 7 games, the starters earned run, well, the pitchers in general have an earned run average of almost 9 in the last 7 games. So 4 and 5 runs, you're not even in the hunt. There's a walk.
Well, they're in the hunt right now with Votto at the plate, runners at first and second base.
You know, we're starting to talk about Qualls, and in 2013, I mean, this is like a guy with 9 lives, although he's coming out of the game now. Went back to Houston a couple of years, and then with Colorado last season, and again now this year. But Bud Black has seen enough.
And this is how Buddy Black will manage at the end of the ball game. He will play matchups. He's got a couple of lefties in the bullpen. He'll go left, right, left, even if it's for 1 batter.
We've seen this young man through the years, primarily with the Marlins. Left-hander Mike Dunn. He will come on to face Votto. Reds have 2 on and 1 out. 1 run home. They're down 3. Here on the Reds, he'll take on the Atlanta Braves, and you can be here for as low as $12. First 20,000 fans in attendance receive an Anthony DeSclafani bobblehead, thanks to Ram Trucks. For tickets, call the Reds or log on to Reds.com. Mike Dunn, the left-hander, to face Joey Votto. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning, and it's an 8-5 Colorado lead, 2 on, 1 out. Votto is lined out to center, singled and scored, and still perhaps the biggest sequence of this game. Outside, naturally, the Rockies coming up with 6 runs in the 5th inning. But as far as their pitching staff is concerned, was in the 4th inning. Reds still had a 3-2 lead in this game. They had Votto at the plate with runners on the corners, and they got Votto to bounce into a double play. They'd go right to that 5th inning with some momentum and put up a 6th spot. Reds with single runs in each of the last 2 and looking for more. 2 balls and a strike. Done okay's assigned with his catcher. And a breaking ball sweeps down and away.
You can see Tony Wolters keeping that mitt in the middle of the plate. He's wanting the breaking ball to start inside and break to the strike zone. The left-hander Dunn is starting the ball at the mitt and breaking it into the dirt off the plate. Votto's not going to swing at that pitch out there. And maybe that's what Wolters is going out to talk to him about. You can see Wolters setting his mitt in the middle of the plate. That's where the pitch ended up. At 2-1, you got to have that pitch for a strike. The ball's got to start middle in and break to the middle away of the plate.
Challenge him there with a 3-1 fastball at 94 miles an hour, and it's fouled out of play.
Now that's Dunn's fallback. Reach back and throw it as hard as I can. Of course, with a guy like Votto at the plate, that could be quite dangerous.
Dunn still looking in. Votto never leaving the batter's box, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. Dunn a check of the runner in the pitch. Three balls, 2 strikes. And there's ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
Dunn wants to throw his fastball. The key for Adam Duvall is he's just got to make sure that it's down and in the strike zone.
They are loaded for Adam Duvall. Reds are trailing 8-5, and we are in the 6th inning.
And again, Wolters, 3 times he put down slider. Dunn doesn't want to throw it.
Through a breaking ball, and it's in the dirt.
Maybe that's why.
Yep. Well, walks have been an issue today for both teams. Adelman walked 4 batters. Storen walked a batter, hit a batter. Senzatella walked 4, also hit a batter. Qualls walked a batter. Dunn's walked a batter. Bases loaded. Reds are down 3. 1-1 pitch. And a base hit into left field. Will bring in 1 run. They're going to hold the runner at 3rd, coming from 2nd. And now it's a 2-run ball game. Duvall his first hit.
Maybe this is why Dunn doesn't want to throw the breaking ball for a strike. He throws it for a strike, and Duvall hooks it into left field. Stayed right on it. If you try to lift that ball to hit a grand slam, you probably hit into a double play. He stayed right on it, stayed right through the baseball. It's a single, and it gets a run home.
So now it's 8-6 Colorado. Bases still loaded, and the red-hot Suarez a batter. Straight up in the air. But this will bring in another run. Blackman prepares for the throw, or will it? That was far shorter than we thought. The throw will go to third. Sac fly RBI makes it 8-7. Suarez has knocked in 2 more today. The left-hander done, being visited on the mound by Walters before he faces a left-handed batting Schebler.
Well, I mentioned earlier you don't get them all back in one swing. Well, I've changed my mind. Let's go ahead and get them all right here.
I think Mr. Schebler would be just fine with that.
Schebler's hit left-handers okay. Matter of fact, his one hit here lately has been off of a left-hander.
He's over his last 14 against right-handed pitching, so let's see what he can do against the southpaw Dunn. Tying run at second, lead one at first. Gotten better and better and better against the left-handers.
Well, he stays in there. You don't see that front shoulder creeping towards first base, bailing out on the breaking ball. He almost likes to hit left-handers the other way.
Largest comeback deficit for a Reds win this season is 4. We have a total of 7 come from behind wins on the year. That 4-run deficit was on the road in St. Louis, you may remember. You said to get it all back on one swing, Cowboy. Well, there you have it. What an amazing comeback here for the Reds. Down 8-3 after 4.5, and now they have the lead.
It's amazing to have such difficulty in a short span against right-handers and hit the ball against a left-hander like that. That was crushed.
So that'll end the inning, and what an inning for the Redlegs. Schebler caps it off with a 3-run big fly, giving the Reds a 10-8 lead at the end of 6. Been a wild one here today, to say the least. The Reds got a couple of runs in the 3rd inning. Sac fly by Schebler, 2-out run scoring single by Peraza, but then the Rockies went off again. Last night an 8-run 6. They had a 6-run 5th inning here today. But the Reds would not quit. They found themselves down 8-3. Then all of a sudden they get a home run by Suarez. They get a solo home run by Mesoraco to lead off the 6th inning. And then Schebler caps off a 6-run 6th inning with a 3-run home run off Mike Dunn, catapulting the Reds to this current 10-8 lead. And Wojciechowski now has a chance to, at least he's in line to pick up what would be his first major league win. It's only his 6th major league game. But the way this one's going, 3 innings is a long way to go.
Well, the key now is just to make sure that you continue to make pitches and you don't give them any free passes. as we've seen from both sides today. You walk guys, all you're doing is adding to a rally.
Alexiano Aristas had an outstanding series, and we're only a game and 2/3 into it. He had a home run and 6 RBIs when this series began. He knocked in 4 runs in 1 inning last night, including a 3-run home run, and today made it 6 RBIs in 2 games. A double to drive in a run in the 4th, an RBI single in the 6-run 5th. And he strikes out on that high fastball, and that's something that he was chasing earlier in the game. Second strikeout.
Well, you ride this one up and out of the strike zone. You're not hitting that with a boat paddle. Well, Wojciechowski didn't come up here to be tentative. He is pumping it.
Tell you, he sure is. You mentioned he's been working as a starter down there, and that's where he's been almost exclusively his entire professional career.
Look, I don't care if he was working as a bat boy. Right now, he's aggressive and he's coming after the hitters. When you come from AAA to the big leagues, that's what you're supposed to do. Get after it.
Well, you know, that's something that Brian Price made very clear in spring training. Guys who don't throw strikes, he's not going to have anything to do with them. Now, as this season has began, you know, you can't be running guys out of town after one bad outing where they walk 3 or 4. But for guys like Cody Reed that had more than 1 or 2 outings, just as an example, where he walked multiple batters, the Reds simply said, we're not going to watch you. That's enough. And so if you come up here and you don't throw strikes, you won't be here very long. But the Reds are still walking batters at just an extraordinarily alarming rate. They led the planet in most walks issued last year, and they are running neck and neck right now for the most walks this year.
And you notice Wojciechowski working quickly, throwing strikes. He gets the benefit of the doubt on a borderline pitch.
And he's going to mow him down 1, 2, 3 if Duvall can corral this one. And he will.
Great job. Great job.
All right, so you have 2 innings out of Wojciechowski. And hey, look, he hadn't even worked up a sweat yet.
Condominium sits silently right now, but if this holds up, it won't be silent later. Reds Live, the post-game edition coming up. We'll put a capper on this one. It's presented by Performance Kings Honda. And how about our boy Joel, who's basically the Condo Association president? He runs the place down there. Upper screen right. A little excited about this shot. Tom Brenneman, I'm still waiting for that. Well, you talked about a refrigerator for us up there and a couch, and you've yet to deliver.
Well, Jim, the reason is because when I made those promises to you, and I'll get you the fridge out there if you want it. But the bottom line is hey, you're rarely ever there anymore. I mean, you're not there in the pregame anymore. You're only there in the postgame. And the other part about it, even though you're technically undercover, I mean, we'd have to find, maybe something from front gate or something like that, an all-weather sort of couch to be able to absorb some of the elements.
This is true. And there's not much room in there. It's a very.
No, I know it's not.
It's a small little quaint condo, but it's home.
Yeah, I mean, we might want to start cleaning up our own condominium up here before we look into cleaning yours up.
That is a very good point.
Scott Oberg takes over on the mound for Colorado. Reds bat here in the last of the 7th inning. They come all the way back to the Reds from an 8-3 deficit to take a 10-8 lead, and you see the numbers on Oberg. Mesoraco led off that 6-run 6th inning with a long home run to left field. It was his second, and he's knocked in 2 runs today. Perhaps we're starting to see Mesoraco come a little further along with his timing at the plate. He'd be the first to tell you that when you basically miss 2 years, it's not easy.
I think his bat speed with the fastball is there. And I think his recognition of the fastball is there. Now it's just a matter of timing on the breaking ball, recognizing it out of the hand of the pitcher, and that just comes with repetition.
All right, now, Jeff Brantley, I'm going to throw you on the spot here a little bit. As there's ball 4. Boy, I tell you what, this will be one of those games where the pitching coach for the Rockies is just going to want to burn the tape of this game. It has been pathetic. The lack of control from all these pitchers, and Bud Black almost looks beside himself. But all right, I want to get to you for a minute now. Reds have had to use a lot of bullpen, and last night they ended up using their main guys when they have a lead. There's no way Wandy Peralta's pitching today unless you're going to pitch him to one batter. That might be it. Wojciechowski has come in and retired 6 consecutive hitters. He's been a starting pitcher in the minor leagues. You just brought him up today. Do you run him out there in the 8th trying to get the ball to either Iglesias or Lorenzen?
Why not? It's one thing if he looks uncomfortable. It's another thing if he's getting lucky outs, 3-2, he's behind everybody. He's aggressive, he's throwing strikes, he's getting quick outs. You run him back out there again. I like the guys that come up here that are hungry. The kid looks hungry today. I'm letting him eat.
Scooter Gennett singled his only at bat in that 6-run 6th inning and later scored.
That doesn't mean you don't have someone up just in case things start to get a little sideways in the 8th inning.
Well, I think Brian Price must be thinking along the same lines as you are, Cowboy, because the Reds bullpen is very quiet. No one getting loose for the time being. Now they have an entire half inning here to maybe get somebody hot. As there's another base hit. Gennett a perfect 2 for 2 off the bench.
If the score stays where it is right now, I get Iglesias up when Wojciechowski takes the mound in the 8th. Just nice and easy, kind of working with the flow of the game. If you score some more runs here, I wait. I let Wojciechowski take the ball, see if he can mow him down in the 8th like he has in the last 2 innings.
The Rockies believe Hamilton will be asked to bunt here. He has 1 sacrifice this season, and we touched upon it the other night that Anthony Rizzo has more bunt hits than Billy Hamilton does this year, and Rizzo has 1. Spun out of the way on that first pitch fastball. He was squared around a bunt. Let's see what the Reds decide to do with Hamilton.
Well, Oberg throws the ball awfully hard, but control is not one of his assets. He came into today walking 8 batters in his 16 innings, and he walked the first batter that he faced here today.
Hamilton safe at first. He legs out the bunt. So now the Reds with a chance to, if not kick in the door, certainly make it very, very tough for the Rockies over their final 2 innings.
The ball hits the ground and bounds high into the air. And even though Tony Wolters came out from behind the plate awfully quick, got to the baseball barehanded, I don't know that you can do anything more as a catcher. Speed kills.
No, that's right. I mean, there's nobody in the game that runs like Hamilton. I'm not out here to suggest that, you know, we see every player in baseball. I think most people feel like he's the fastest player in the game. And if there's one or two guys out there as fast, but just watching him after putting that ball on the ground and where he was by the time the catcher picked the ball up, it's just astonishing. And we get a chance to watch a guy every single day, and you still can't believe how fast he truly is. It's just unbelievable how fast he is. I tell you, I know it'll never happen, but I'm the first guy that would say sign me up to see him race against John Ross, the #1 pick of the Bengals, a young man who set the all-time record at the NFL Combine this year for the fastest time in the 40-yard dash. I'd love to see it.
Billy seems to run as fast as he needs to run.
Yeah. So now they are loaded, still nobody out. So as we mentioned, Hamilton did not have a bunt hit the entire season. And right there, he was trying to put down a bunt for a sacrifice. It turns into a bunt hit. And you know the funny part about this, and real quick, this is something Chris Welsh and I talked about at length in Chicago. There's a prime example of a team knowing that Billy Hamilton is going to bunt. They knew right there he'd already squared around on the first 3 pitches in the at-bat. They knew he was going to bunt. But if you make the bunt good enough, they still can't throw you out.
Stay in the box and execute. If you're running out of the box and trying to flail at it, that's when you can't place it.
There's straightaway center field. This will bring in a run. Blackman's throw will go into third, and it won't be in time. Both runners are going to advance. And the Reds had another run. It's 11-8. But you know what I'm saying there, Cowboy? I mean, that's a routine sac fly there. But, you know, you hear people say all the time they're taking away the bunt from Billy Hamilton. Teams are not taking away the bunt from Billy Hamilton. I just don't think he's a very confident bunter.
Well, I think he tries to do too much because they're playing in. And I don't think he realizes, as the Rockies are going to intentionally walk Joey Votto to load him back up. I think sometimes Billy just doesn't realize that if he bunts the ball down the third baseline, very similar to what he did there, where you make the catcher have to go get the ball where it's not the pitcher or the third baseman, got yourself a base hit. His speed is that good.
And I know you face this guy. We mentioned they intentionally walked Votto, but we talked at length the other night about Brett Butler, who ran well, but he's not in the same galaxy as Billy Hamilton.
But Brett did not run out of the box.
No.
He placed the bunt in a good spot and used his speed.
Now Duvall with a chance to bust this thing wide open. He's down a strike. They are loaded. The Reds have scored 8 runs in their last 3 at-bats. 6 of them coming in the 6th inning. Oh, and 1 to count on Duvall. In the hole, it's short. Amarista gets 1. And that's all they'll get. Another run scores. That's a nice play by the Colorado shortstop right there. But the Reds extend their lead to 4 runs.
I thought for a moment that Amarista was going to come to third base, but he makes that jump pivot and a nice throw to LeMahieu at second.
Now Suarez, he's had a perfect day. Runner takes off for second. They'll let him go. So give Duvall his third stolen base of the year. Wind really beginning to pick up considerably here, and it's blowing, appears to be blowing in right from left center field. You rarely ever see weather patterns come from that direction. Normally they're moving from the first base side to the third base side, west to east, most of the weather patterns. But if that wind is bringing in any weather from what, the south east, you never see that. Suarez today has walked twice, hit a solo home run, a sac fly run batted in. So 2 more RBIs for Suarez, coming off of a 3-hit game here last night. Boy, I tell you, I mean, when the Rockies come to town, the Reds should consider doing what they do in Arizona and put that dirt runway between the mound and the plate. Diamondbacks are the only team that has that, because otherwise Walters is going to wear that grass out. What could he be saying to him before this 0-2 pitch? You have any idea?
Don't hang it.
Well, he didn't hang it. Ground ball to short. Amarista will throw, and that's all for the Reds, but they get 2 more. Colorado bats in the 8th. Reds 12, Rockies 8. Baseball out there on the mound. He has worked 2 perfect innings in this his Reds debut out of the bullpen. Reds did not get good pitching at all from the first 2 pitchers they ran out there today. Adelman gave up 6 in 4 2/3 innings. Storen in 1/3 of an inning allowed 2. But Wojciechowski has really brought a nice calm over this Great American Ballpark mound and getting people out. First pitch to Charlie Blackmon is straight up in the air to the warning track, and it's 1 pitch and 1 out here in the 8th inning. 7 in a row retired by Wojciechowski. You think of all the ballyhooed, for lack of a better term, but all of these huge prospects who we have heard so much about in the Reds organization, whether they be guys coming over in trades, you know, the Kansas City deal for Cueto and getting Finnegan and picking up John Lamb, who of course is no longer with a team, and Cody Reed. You think about Robert Stevenson, a #1 pick. The Reds have brought Sal Romano up from the minor leagues this year. Lorenzen and Iglesias. Not a single word, not one time was anything ever uttered about Wojciechowski. We didn't see him in spring training. Had no idea who he was. And yet this young fella, at least on this one day, May the 20th, 2017, has been as good as any pitcher we have seen in a 3-inning stint, or nearly a 3-inning stint, to throw the ball for the Reds all season long.
I think the thing that you're seeing from Wojciechowski is he has been aggressive. He's getting after it regardless of who's there, and he's put the Rockies on the defensive, and he has put 3 scoreless on the board.
That is a 4-pitch inning for Wojciechowski. He's retired 9 in a row. You got to lead this guy in to get the save. His first major league save, right? Cowboy?
I don't think so.
Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Reds will bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. Still Oberg out there on the mound, who came on to give up 2 runs in the 7th inning.
And Wojciechowski is standing in the on-deck circle. Evidently, he's going to go back out for the night. And why not? But I would imagine that if Wojciechowski does indeed go back out, they'll have Raisel Iglesias throwing just in case he runs into trouble. Of course, right now, he's had anything but trouble.
Base hit center field by Schebler, so that ends a long run for him of hitless at bats against right-handed pitchers. Of course, he has the single biggest blow, or at least one of the big blows in this game. When you score 12 runs, there are a lot of those. But his 3-run home run capped off the 6-run 6th to give the Reds the lead. Missed it, 0-2.
I do like the batting gloves.
They stabbed at it, missed 3 in a row.
Maybe not the technique, but the batting gloves look awfully nice. Camouflage.
Well, it's Military Appreciation Day, and we certainly send out all our thoughts and thanks and best wishes and prayers to all those who have served, that are serving, that will serve in the United States military. All your families who certainly think about you, worry about you morning, noon, and night when you're not home, deployed somewhere else. Still the strongest, greatest country in the United States of America. The United States of America, the greatest country in the world. Been a nice day for Devin Mesoraco. A run-scoring single in the 2nd inning, a solo home run in the 6th. And then he walked and scored in the 7th. And what a play by Arenado. Are you kidding me? My goodness. It does not get any better than that. The 4-time Gold Glove winner at third, Arenado. A spectacular play.
Watch where he throws this from. Like you were talking about earlier, he likes to be off balance when he throws. He throws it right on the money. From his knees, falling back towards the stands. And Mesoraco smoked that ball. When you make a play look that easy, that's why you've got that hardware everywhere.
What a play. Goodness gracious, what a play. Scooter Gennett perfect off the bench since he came on in the top of the 6th inning. That's when Wojciechowski entered the game, and Scooter was part of a double switch. Has a single to center, a single to left, and has scored a couple of runs. This guy has been such a nice pickup for the Reds just before the season started. I'm not sure that, you know, of any other player. And we don't see every team, haven't seen every team in the National League. And obviously only 2 teams in the American League. So, you know, it's going out on a limb a little bit, but of any player of any team that was acquired less than a handful of days before the start of the season, it's hard to believe there's been a better pickup than Scooter Gennett.
Well, it's 2 years in a row where the Reds have been able to make a move right there at the end of spring training. They got Dan Straley last year, who threw the ball about as good as anybody. And Gennett, even though he hasn't gotten regular playing time, he's been outstanding off the bench, playing left, playing second, playing third, played right field the ball game. Even though Mesoraco was robbed of a hit right there because of a great play by Arenado, he's starting to look more and more like the Devin that we saw 2 years ago when he was hot and heavy at the plate. And that's back when he was hitting in the middle of the lineup.
And that was 2014 when Mesoraco hit the 25 home runs, drove in 80. He basically has missed all of 15, all of 16, started 17 on the disabled list. I mean, when the Reds signed this guy, you know, ahead of arbitration and free agency, 4 years, upwards of nearly $30 million, they were thinking about a guy to hit 25, 30 home runs, drive in 90 to 100 runs, batting cleanup in the middle of your lineup. And it has not happened, and now this the 3rd year of that 4-year contract. Just had really, really bad luck. Gennett out of there on strike. So here we go. Wojciechowski has never won a major league game. He has only pitched in a total of 5 major league games before today. He will take the mound to try and nail down the win 3 outs away. Wojciechowski is the story on the mound today for the Reds.
He has just come out aggressive, pounding the strike zone, keeping the ball down. It's not that he's struck out every batter that he's faced. It's the fact that he's gotten everybody out that he's faced. And when you come in a ball game where the Reds finally are able to put some big numbers on the board, you've taken a lead, this is the kind of pitching performance that you need. Aggressive and getting after it.
All right, so this is fun to watch. Perfect 3 innings, 29 pitches for Asher Wojciechowski. 3 outs to go from his first major league win. How about that breaking ball? And a first pitch had Mark Reynolds way off balance. It's a young man signed originally. He was a first-round pick. That's how highly thought of coming out of the Citadel was Asher Wojciechowski. The 41st pick overall in the June 2010 draft by the Toronto Blue Jays. He was traded to the Houston Astros in 2012. He's been a starter by and large his entire minor league career. Only 11 games he has pitched in the minor leagues out of the bullpen. He's logged over 800 minor league innings, and now a chance to win a major league game for the very first time. For those of you that weren't with us in 2015, the Astros started him 3 games, pitched him 2 other games out of the bullpen, an 0-1 record, and he got tattooed. I mean, he gave up 23 hits in 16 innings and 13 earned runs. 2-2 on Reynolds. Well, Cowboy told you that the Reds have Raisel Iglesias throwing down there in the bullpen. Three and two on Reynolds. Wojciechowski to the plate. Popped up and playable for Votto. 10 in a row retired by Wojciechowski. He came into this game with the Reds behind 8-4. Had a 1-2-3-6th inning, and then the Reds exploded to take the lead with the 6 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Tacked on 2 more in the 7th. And now the batter, Carlos Gonzalez. And look, this young man, who knows what his next outing might be, where it might be. We have no idea.
Only he knows what's going to happen when he takes the ball on the mound. Maybe in his younger days when he first got called up to the Astros, it was a little overwhelming. He's older now. He realizes, hey, these chances are few and far between. You better cash it in.
Jam shot fly ball into right. 11 in a row retired by Wojciechowski. He is 1 out away from 4 perfect innings in his first major league win. And all the individual accolades aside of how well he's pitched today, think what he's done for this to lead this depleted bullpen and pitching staff. And it's a base hit into center field that nearly hit him. May have got a piece of it. It's a base hit by Ian Desmond.
Pat Valleca.
Or Valleca, I beg your pardon.
Valleca, first pitch fastball hitter. But if you're Wojciechowski, you're pumping that heater. And Brian Price is going to go to the bullpen and bring on Raisel Iglesias. Tremendous performance by Wojciechowski.
In a row, allows a single with 2 outs here in the 9th inning. Reds leading by 4. This is not a save situation, and Brian Price will bring in his closer. Iglesias pitched an inning here last night, and the runner will take second base. Alexi Amarista is the batter. We almost saw that reaction from Zach Cozart after the manager Price came out of the dugout and took the ball. You know, he just kind of pumped his hand in the glove as if to say, man, I wish that kid could have finished it up. Not suggesting he's wondering and trying to manage a team, but I think everybody out there is rooting for a guy who pitched the way he did today.
That's what you like to play behind.
So that'll take care of that on the throw by who else? Cozart, and the Reds 7-game losing streak is over, and Wojciechowski gets his first major league win. 3 2/3 innings of one-hit shutout baseball, and the Reds come back from an 8-3 deficit. They score 6 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning to take the lead and win it by a final count of 12-8. We're back with more in a moment.